أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى صدق الله العظيم. All praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him and we ask Him for guidance and for forgiveness. And we seek protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the malice of our own souls and the evil of our own actions. Whom Allah guides, no one can lead him astray, and whom He makes astray, no one can lead him back to the right path. I bear witness that there is no deity but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by Himself, no associate to Him, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His slave and His messenger. There's a famous saying which goes like this, that knowledge is power. And the first revelation that I recited just a few moments ago is proof of the fact that there is great importance in seeking knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending Jibreel alayhi salam to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam with a message and to teach him, which is one of the proof, and teach man what he did not know. So here we learn that the importance of seeking knowledge is a very esteemed goal. It's a very esteemed endeavor. We find that in the past, Muslims were at the top of medicine and technology and astronomy and physics and psychology. We had many a great scholars who excelled in the fields of the various sciences. We find that we have pioneers in these complex fields, and we have somewhat lost this stature in the ummah. The word ilm means knowledge, and Imam Ghazali states that this is defined as knowledge which is the attainment of actual description or representation that then penetrates in the heart. And this is important because that's what differentiates us and animals, because animals are also able to procreate just like we can. Animals are also able to eat and drink just like we can. And so the only way to differentiate between us and them is the ability to arrive at a meaning and to have a description of a thing which then penetrates the soul. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that He will raise up by many degrees those of you who believe and those who have been given knowledge. Allah promises that He will raise the status of those with knowledge. And He also tells us that those who have knowledge are not the same as the ones who do not have knowledge. And it is those of His servants who have knowledge who stand in true awe of God, and that God the Almighty is the most forgiving. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions that those who contemplate and reflect using their intellect, will find signs that the ignorant don't find. And so by seeking knowledge, you will expand your view of the world, you'll expand your horizons. And the more you delve into knowledge, the stronger those neurons become. And this is proven. This is proven, and this is a message to all the students who are at school and college and university. That if you keep going, if you keep trying, it does become easier. Your learning becomes easier. Your memory becomes easier. You're able to retain things better. It may begin to be very difficult. It may be difficult in the beginning, but over time it will become easier. It's like the droplet that penetrates the rock. So over time, you just have a droplet of water, but over time it can penetrate the rock because of its consistency and the fact that it's being persistent in its pursuit. And the Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged all Muslims to seek knowledge, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of social status. And he also mentions that the best of you in Islam are those with the best character if they have religious understanding. So having knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having knowledge of His signs makes us more aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It makes us more fearful, or have the awareness of God. I often quote this hadith to the students, especially when they need to come in early morning on a Sunday, that the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever takes a path in the search of knowledge, Allah will cause him to walk in the path to paradise. And indeed, the angels will cover their wings in great pleasure with the one who seeks knowledge. So if we have this in our minds when we are walking out to seek knowledge for our lessons, whether it be at school, whether it be at college or university, or you come to the masjid to learn, and perhaps you don't have that motivation, and you're tired, or you wanted that Sunday sleep in, that's the motivation that we should have, that the angels will be praying for you, and that the road to paradise is a road via seeking knowledge. There are three divisions of knowledge in Islam. So we have religious knowledge, which in essence is to learn about Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking of us, and to somewhat understand what His essence is. We have the pure sciences, which are things like mathematics and logic, and this enhances our understanding. And we have the natural sciences, which is about the physical world. It's about nature, which helps us to reflect, and ultimately this will lead to us to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there are two types of knowledge. One is your fard al-ayn. Fard al-ayn is your individual obligation of the things that you need to know. And these can be split into sub-subjects or sub-sciences. So for example, you need to know your basic fiqh. You need to know how to make wudu so that you can pray. You need to know what the rules are for prayer, what breaks the prayer, how do you pray, what's the method. You need to know about your aqeedah. What do you believe in? We believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we believe in the angels, we believe in the prophets, we believe in the books. And then by expansion, we also need to know about the seerah, about the Prophet ﷺ, about how he conducted himself, about his character. And we also then need to know about things like Hajj. So if we are at the stage where we are about to embark on this journey, then it becomes an obligation for you to learn about the Hajj. We can't turn around and then say, oh, I'm ignorant, and because ignorant is bliss, we say, oh no, because I didn't know. That's not how it works. Once you are married, you also need to know the rulings regards to marriage and divorce. By extension, it is also encouraged to learn about the liberal arts. And this is something that is somewhat lost in the Islamic world. In the past, the scholars not only were well grounded in Islamic knowledge, but they also had knowledge and were masters of things like rhetoric and logic and grammar and astronomy and maths and geometry. And this is very evident when we look at some of the iconic buildings, such as the Taj Mahal, for example, or the Alhambra. We have beautiful geometry which has meaning behind it. So the patterns, they have a meaning behind it. They're not just random patterns that have been created. There's a meaning behind them. And having a mastery in things like rhetoric and things like logic expands our thought and our thinking. And this helps us to then navigate in the world, where we can then not only have the knowledge, our Islamic knowledge in terms of what we need to know to live our daily lives, but also then having the ability to have a conversation with other people, to put forward convincing arguments. And we can only do that once we've mastered things like rhetoric and grammar. Some of the tips in terms of seeking knowledge are, the fard khifaya is the obligation that is an obligation for the community. So for example, there needs to be someone that knows how to lead the funeral prayer. And if nobody knew how to lead the funeral prayer, then that will be a sin upon the community. So what are the tips for seeking knowledge? So the first and foremost thing to understand is that we need to have a pure intention. We need to have the right intention in order to seek knowledge. We shouldn't be thinking about seeking knowledge for material or worldly gain. The prophets didn't leave dirhams or gold. They left behind knowledge. And the ulama, the scholars, are the heirs of the prophets. Having good company, your teachers are very, very important. Having teachers who have a link and a chain going back to the Prophet ﷺ will give you that authenticity of what you have learned is coming from the Quran and the Sunnah. Having good companions and good friends will encourage you to learn more, to memorize more. Making dua, sincere dua for openings. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for beneficial knowledge. There's lots of knowledge out there, but we want to spend our time on knowledge that will benefit us and benefit the community. So there's perhaps very little benefit in knowing how to perhaps stand on one leg for hours and hours and hours. It's not going to benefit anyone. It might be entertaining for some people, but it's not going to achieve anything. Also the institutions. So we have now lots of access to online learning, and there's a place for that for sure. We've got access now which is a lot more than what we used to have in the past. But we have to be careful. We have to be careful with online learning. It's a tool, but by no means should it be the priority. It can supplement your one-to-one or your in-person learning. And there are many benefits to in-person learning. You want to breathe the same air as your teachers. You want to have that dynamic when you are sitting at the feet of the teachers. I very recently visited Zaytuna College in California, for those who know. This was founded by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, who's an American scholar, and this is what sort of inspired me to give this khutbah. And you know, one of the striking things about that place was just the ihsan and the itqan that they are, you know, that they have, you know, in their pursuit of, you know, making an institution available for people to seek knowledge. You know, Islam is all about beauty, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves beauty. So you want your masajids and you want your institutions to be beautiful, because our deen is beautiful. Our Prophet Muhammad is beautiful. And so learning about the deen is a beautiful endeavor. And so going to masajids and institutions, you know, that are filled with beauty, you know, gives you that inspiration. And when we do something as Muslims, we should have the itqan, which is described as, you know, if you want to do something, do it properly. You know, we look at the Ottoman Empire, we look at the people at that time, and what they used to do is they used to make sure that everything that they did to the best of their abilities, and they used to take great care in their pursuits. So the writer would have, you know, the best pen. When they would go out for battle, they would have the best armor. The armor would have amazing calligraphy. You know, they had so much care and so much love for what they were doing. So they were trying to achieve the highest standards in everything that they did. And ultimately, we want to have, you know, and we want to go to institutions that will allow us to, you know, be able to then learn our deen, and then we want to convey the deen, but also have the right knowledge to combine the Islamic knowledge with the issues that we face in the world today. So we're preparing leaders and people who can, you know, grapple with these complex issues that we have. You know, there are lots of plans, you know, by various people that, you know, they want to dumb us down. We've got so many distractions with the phone and technology. You know, we have, you know, issues to confuse people, like gender issues. It causes mass confusion, and it stops us from really developing our minds. And so we want to produce, you know, people that can grapple with these things. And so, you know, we should encourage our children. And like I said, there's no age limit in terms of learning, but there's young people here, you know, we've got parents here. We should encourage our children to learn the deen, to learn Islamic knowledge. And by extension, any beneficial knowledge, medicine, engineering, these are all going to benefit the community. Because not everyone is going to be destined to become a scholar. We don't need everyone to become a scholar. But you do have an individual obligation to be able to understand your deen so that you can carry out your daily tasks according to the Quran and the Sunnah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts and to make our tasks easy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us light of knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us beneficial knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the knot on our tongues and to make us of the eloquent. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us beneficial knowledge, and so that we can convey beneficial knowledge to the community, to our children, to our families. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open the door of knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the tawfiq to learn knowledge and to be able to solve difficult problems. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow upon us His mercy. Ibadallah, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة.